So yeah, my name's Gary. I work with Trocaire. I'm the campaigns manager with Trocaire, and I've been privileged to travel to Gaza many times over the years. I've probably been 15, 20 times to Gaza. And this photograph here actually on the screen, let me just get the clicker, is a photograph I took. It's not of the current situation in Gaza, it's actually from 10 years ago, from 2014, when the last major ground invasion of Israeli forces into Gaza happened. And I went in afterwards to oversee Trocaire's projects, and it blew me away to see the destruction. I don't know if you can see that at the back, but whole neighborhoods were just flattened, were destroyed. And I visited many people who told me harrowing stories of losing loved ones, civilians fleeing and shot, mothers killed, babies killed, wives, husbands, horrific stuff. And I said to myself at the time, it can't get any worse than this. But it has, unfortunately. And what we're seeing now is on a scale much, much worse than what happened in 2014, which is devastating to say. So you've probably all been seeing on the news, and Dr. Nick Maynard will be able to speak much more in detail about the situation at the moment, but I'm sure you've all seen, because it's one of the first conflicts where we're seeing on social media, minute by minute, the destruction and devastation and the killing that is happening. And much of Gaza has been destroyed. Over 2/3 of buildings across Gaza have either been destroyed or damaged. This is on a scale we just simply haven't seen before. And it's not just buildings, it's people as well. So the majority of the population of Gaza have had to flee their homes. Over 2/3 of the people of Gaza have fled, but they can't leave. In every other country where Trocaire works, where there's a conflict like this, people leave. You see streams of refugees leaving. But in Gaza, they can't. And that's what makes this conflict so different. And that's what makes the civilian casualties so high, is because people have left areas of Gaza, but they're still stuck in Gaza, which is a very heavily urban area. And so you have over 1 million people living in tents, living with family members, and they could be bombed any minute. There's no safe place in Gaza. And you may have seen the news now, it's heading towards a famine. The UN is warning that famine is imminent. I never thought that famine, words that we associate with other countries Trocaire works in, maybe Somalia, but not Gaza. But famine is imminent now. People are starving to death. Babies are starving to death. People are eating animal feed. They're poisoning themselves. They're drinking seawater just to survive. It's absolutely devastating, the situation. We've never seen a humanitarian situation as bad as this in Gaza. And then, of course, people are being killed. So I think over 33,000 people have been killed now. And sometimes statistics, it's hard to equate that to a human situation. I don't know if you can see the details here, but we've listed what the equivalent is in terms of population size of towns in Ireland. So that's more than the population of Letterkenny or Carrickfergus or Cove. And I looked at the population of Kinsale in the most recent census, and it's 5 times the population of Kinsale. Imagine everyone you knew in Kinsale was wiped out 5 times over. And the thing is, these are not necessarily combatants. The vast majority of people killed are women and children. They are civilians. There's been no other conflict in this century that has seen as fast a rate of civilian deaths. It's really at a level we haven't seen before. And for Trocaire, it gets personal for us because we have lost people. We fund local organisations on the ground, we support them, and in all of the organisations we work with, aid workers have been killed. These 2 photographs, these 2 brave women were Noor and Dana, and they were lawyers working with the Palestinian Centre for Human Rights. They were killed along with family members and children. Issam on the left was a pharmacist working with Caritas Gaza. He was killed. Viola, his colleague also working with Caritas, was killed together with her 2-year-old child. There's over 200 aid workers that have now been killed. And you've probably seen in the media this week the tragic case of 7 international workers who were targeted. And it's hard to think, is this not direct targeting of civilians, of aid workers? I mentioned all the houses and the buildings that have been damaged, but there's been mosques, there's been schools, there's been hospitals targeted, and Nick, you can speak directly to your experiences. I mean, these aren't necessarily military targets that are being hit, and it's huge human loss of life. This building, I've been in this building many times. It's the building of an organisation we fund, the Gaza Community Mental Health Programme, that supports the dire situation of trauma in Gaza. The trauma levels before this war were huge, and now they're just going to be catastrophic. Yet the building of these aid workers, these counsellors, these therapists, has been hit and damaged. But we have been able to get aid in, and this is the good news story. Nick has been working with Medical Aid for Palestinians, which Trocaire supports, and we're very proud to support them. The situation is dire, and the threat of famine is real because aid is being restricted from getting in, but some organisations can get aid in. Medical Aid for Palestinians has been able to get medical supplies in to the limited health facilities that are working. So we're very proud to be able to support Medical Aid for Palestinians, and this is only possible through the generous donations of the Irish people. We've had a huge outpouring of support across the island, and I know at the last event here there was a huge amount donated, so I wanted to say on behalf of Trocaire, thank you so much for the donations that you have given. And if you haven't donated, please consider doing so. So yeah, we're getting aid supplies in through Medical Aid for Palestinians. Here's some photographs we've gotten from the ground. We're also getting hygiene kits and dignity kits to families affected. In terms of trauma, I mentioned the Gaza Community Mental Health Programme. They had their main offices bombed, but they still have 3 centres that are still trying to function amid the current chaos. But they've also set up a WhatsApp support line so that people in Gaza who are going through the most unimaginable trauma can receive support remotely. So they're trying to still operate in the most desperate of situations. And there are still items that can be purchased on the market, so we're giving cash assistance to some families. We're just trying to help people be resilient, to cope and to survive where they can. And of course, when the war ends, the day after, we'll get as much support as we can in and help rebuild buildings, but also rebuild lives. But it's not just about providing support on the ground. We need political pressure. We need Irish politicians, decision makers to take action. We need everyone, not just donating, we need everyone to take action, to attend marches and demonstrations, to write to politicians, to sign petitions. This can really help because we need a ceasefire, we need accountability, we need to stop potential genocide from happening, and that can only happen through political action. So yeah, if you take one thing away from this tonight, I would love if you could write a handwritten letter to your local TD. It's amazing to sign petitions, etc., but the impact of a handwritten letter is incredible. And just a few handwritten letters to a TD makes them feel that there is voter interest in this issue. And the people of Ireland have been incredible in their solidarity with Palestinians, and it's putting huge pressure on the government. So please keep it up, please continue. I'll hand over now. I know Nick is the main event, but I just wanted to show a little video clip from some of the trips I've had to Gaza. And this might be a bit jarring because I hate to think that people's images in their head of Gaza is just destruction and death. Like, people in Gaza are resilient, they are strong, and they cope, and they will cope again after this. And they are people like ourselves. They have families, they celebrate life, they eat food, they celebrate on the beach. A lot of people don't even know Gaza has a lovely beach. So I just wanted to show this to remind you what life in Gaza was like before the current bloodshed, and what life in Gaza could be like again. these are scenes you maybe you've never seen before, but you know, people like to enjoy life. They like to go to the beach. And, you know, there are entertainers, there are young people like anywhere in the world enjoying themselves. Obviously, it's not like that now on the beach in Gaza, as people are, you know, hiding for dear life, hiding from the rockets. But it can be like that again, and it can be even more beautiful if there's political pressure put on Israel, if this war ends and Gaza can rebuild. So the last thing I'll say is, if you do want to sign our petition, scan that QR code. We'll be able to send letters to local TDs demanding political action. So yeah, but as I say, write a handwritten letter. It'll be even more impactful. Thanks very much.